So I see a lot of crap out there online about how you can't be spiritual and make money, be rich, have the life of your dreams. Well, that's just BS. You can be spiritual and make money because it doesn't really matter. People hear stories like the story of Buddha, who was born very wealthy to a royal family and had every delight that he could wish for, and then left and became an ascetic, and then eventually found the middle way and founded his path of spiritual enlightenment. They hear that and think, okay, in order to be spiritual, I have to leave the comforts. I have to be completely broke. And there's virtue in that. I'm a better person because I'm broke. Well, you're not. That's not the point of that story. The point of that story is to show that it's not relevant. So you can be rich and achieve enlightenment. You could be poor and achieve enlightenment. Often the easiest is somewhere in the middle, but there's no virtue in it. You're not a better person because you have less money. That whole mindset, Nietzsche describes in great detail. He calls it the slave morality. He says the truly virtuous people find morals that they stick to, regardless of what everybody else is doing, whether people degrade them for it, whether people applaud them for it, doesn't matter. The majority people base their morals as the opposite of what the ruling class is doing. They think if they're rich, that means they're bad and I'm good because I'm poor. And so it's just a psychological defense mechanism. It's not real. It's not even virtue. And unfortunately, many of the mainstream religions have pushed this, not originally because the teachings of the original founders of these religions was very much against that. Look in the Bible, who was one of the most spiritual people was King Solomon, and he was also extremely wealthy. He built God's temple. That's the temple which Judaism and Christianity both base their spirituality off of. That's God's living house. There are people in these traditions that choose to be poor because they are advanced spirits and they want to show that it doesn't matter. And it also gave them a position where they were more able to easily teach. A poor person isn't a threat in ancient society. And if you look at the apostles, if you look at the ancient Buddhist monks who would travel and teach, they were poor for a very specific reason because it was the most effective way to spread that religion. Being poor, being rich, it's a tool. It's a spiritual tool which you can use to your benefit if you're open minded enough to look at it in an objective way. Now, who really benefits from you believing that being poor is virtuous? That is some kind of a spiritual necessity. The narcissistic, psychopathic ruling class actually wrote a book on narcissism. And if you look at the higher up you go in any organization, say large companies, government, the higher incidence of narcissism and other dark triad traits that you find. These people don't care. These people will gladly promote the virtue of being poor while taking all your money and laugh in your face because of it. Now, not everybody in every organization is a narcissist or dark triad person, but there certainly has been that tendency throughout history. Look at the Catholic Church, who were extremely wealthy. The higher ups in that church were some of the wealthiest people in that time, rivaling and sometimes greatly exceeding kings. Yet they're telling everybody that it's good for them to be poor. Now I want to hit you with another truth bomb. In fact, at this day and age, if you're a spiritual person, if you're awakening and you're consenting to be poor, even though you have the ability to make money, you have that drive, you have that interest, you're actually doing everybody else a disservice. What we really need is advanced awakening people in positions of control. And that in this society means money. In other societies, it might mean control over land or certain ancestral rights. But in capitalist society, it means capital. It means being able to decide the policies of major organizations. It means being in politics. If you're shunning that out of some kind of virtue signaling, or even just some internalized fear that you might be doing something wrong, you're playing into the hands of the evil forces. You're playing into the hands of the darkness. You're shunning your responsibility. So that's why I will call out anybody that says that you can't be rich and be spiritual, or you can't be rich and awakened. That's just complete BS. And in fact, it's causing more harm than is good. They're the puppets of the narcissistic ruling class. They're the puppets of dark forces that want to control you, that want to put you down, that want you to sit down, shut up, consume, and watch their media, watch their television, like their chosen movie stars when they say the right things, and don't like the other people that don't say the right things. But listen up. If this message has reached you any way, we need you. We need you to be spiritual. We need you to be turned in, meditating, growing in energy, Kundalini awakening. And we need you to take that out into the world and make the new earth. Build it up with us. Build up this new society that was forming around goodness and strength. And if you're saying, I don't see it, I don't know what you're talking about, this society, it's nowhere to be found, that's because you're not tuned in. You're watching the puppet show. Turn around, look into the light, follow this YouTube channel because huge things are happening and I want you on board with us. So if you made it this far, like and subscribe.